So the next question would ask, well, we have archaeological, physical evidence, we have scientific cutting edge evidence, but is there any ancient records that um, testified to the fact that these ancient visitors did come from heaven to earth from an advanced space age civilization, as mentioned? And there is actually. They are known as the Sumerian clay tablets, which have been discovered and translated by linguistic scholar Sakurai Sitchin. And if you want to look up the theory of the 12 planets and the information that was translated from the ancient Sumerian tablets, you could always type in Sakurai Sitchin, the 12th planet, and read up upon the information that was translated. But I'm just going to make it brief. According to this ancient Sumerian tablets, a group of beings known as the Anunnaki came from a planet known to the ancients as the planet of the crossings. Now, according to the Sumerian tablets, it was called Nibiru. And this planet apparently comes into our solar system every 3,600 years on an elliptical orbit. So, according to these tablets, the Anunnaki who came from Nibiru came to our planet roughly about 450,000 years ago, during a time when the natural flow of evolution reached the stage of Homo upstanding right vertical primates. And there were six kind in those days. There were Homo, branching from the family of Australopithecus. We had Homo robustus, we had Homo, I can't even think of all the different names, but there was Homo robustus, Homo africanus, Homo habilis, and several others. And the most evolved out of these six strains of hominids were known as the Homo erectus. So, according to this theory, the Anunnaki, who came 450,000 years ago, when we had these sets of different primates, is that they are the ones in an effort to excavate the gold in the planet, in order to break it down to its subatomic particle, refine it to dust, and then disperse it into the atmosphere, because that was the whole reason why they excavated the gold, is that their atmosphere was leaking, so it was causing the lifespan of the civilization in Nibiru to shorten, so people were living less and less lives. So the whole purpose of the Anunnaki coming to the Earth during those days was to excavate the gold so that they could patch up their atmosphere and provide longevity or longer lifespans for their people that live on Nibiru. So, according to this theory or this translation, the Anunnaki had physical bodies just like you and me, and they hated to toil in the underground mines. So what they did in an intelligent act is they upgraded the Homo erectus, which is the most evolved branch out of the other four primates, and they mixed it with their DNA in an effort to create a more superior being, but that is also less intelligent than themselves by far. So that was the first missing link that Darwin and all these evolutionists can never figure out, as to why millions of years of evolution took place where all of a sudden overnight we went from Homo erectus to Homo sapien. And that is known as the first missing link. So the ancient astronaut theory provides evidence that evolution and creation are two sides of the same coin. However, they're both, say, incomplete, because creation is not including the existence of advanced space age civilizations and the possibility of multiple worlds. And the theory of evolution is not considering the descent of spirit into matter, which is involution explained from the top down. So basically, Darwin only explains the evolution of physical shelf of a vehicle. But what I do in my work, in my book here, is I start sharing some theories that are going to expand a whole new different, or broaden our perception of a whole new different type of existence that has to do more with just temporary physical mortality. And that is the idea that we are part of a long series of involution from spirit into matter, which I explained earlier, and eventually we needed to connect with the vehicle. And that explains the physical shelf of the primates, the evolution of physical bodies, and the descent of spiritual personalities, or the gods or angels, whatever you want to call them, that integrated with those physical bodies by mixing their genes. So after a few upgrades, according to the records, the first two upgrades took place in the laboratory, and then after the Anunnaki arranged for the Homo sapiens sapien, or the Homo sapien, I'm sorry, we weren't Homo sapiens sapiens yet, we were still Homo sapiens, Cro-Magnon, as science calls it. When they upgraded them the third time, they started procreating themselves, and at that point, that's when the Anunnaki themselves started finding the women attractive, and so they descended from the heavens and took as many wives as they wanted and created a whole new breed of, of species. And that was what they called the demigods, those that were part immortal and part mortal. And that explains the lifespans lived by our biblical patriarchs, beginning with Adam, Shem, Enoch, all the way to Methuselah, to Noah, and then later Abraham, and so on and so forth. So there is biblical evidence that the human beings today on planet Earth are not the direct descendants of the hominids that were already on this planet, but we are a genetic mutation or downstep. We are a genetic mutation of these Anunnaki gods. So therefore, we are the descendants